Yeah, but maybe not frustrated, just disappointed. I thought we started the game with the enthusiasm and the confidence and some of the execution which we produced last week against Sheffield. We really started the game, I thought, with a real good tempo, and we sort of probably stunned the Bulls a little bit there. And like I said, the players were full of confidence. But I think the disappointing thing was for me and for the team was, we kind of went a little bit soft on ourselves in that middle part of the first half, and we allowed Bradford to get a couple of quick fire tries to get themselves back into it, and we had to defend our try line a hell of a lot, certainly towards the back end of that first half, and that was through probably a lot of our own mistakes, a lot of penalties that we gave away, and I think we just had to absorb a hell of a lot of pressure. I was proud of the way we defended at times that first half, because I think as you probably saw, the latter stage of that first half, Bradford were getting a lot of offloads away, and they were starting to cause a few problems. And I thought we just had enough resilience and toughness to stop them, which was good. But we just kind of fell into the trap of maybe getting a little bit giddy and a little bit trigger happy, and we were sort of trying to force those offloads or little passes that weren't exactly on, some pressure passes, rather than just sticking to the process, sticking to the plan, and just grinding it out, because it was going to take us to complete Hive today. It was going to take us to execute the plan to perfection today, and also it was going to take that attitude, which I felt the attitude out there was fantastic. But like I said, I think looking at the stats, I've got them just at the end of the game. Our completion rate overall was 55% for the game, and the penalty count I think was about 14-5 against. So it just shows you how much work defensively the team had to do, and I suppose there's a little bit of credit to the players that with that much defending and that much pressure that we put ourselves under. I'm not going to blame anyone for that. I do think the referee made some poor calls, at times through the game, but I'm not going to blame the referee for what we did. At the end of the day, we weren't good enough. We didn't execute well enough with the ball. We put ourselves under way too much pressure. But like I said, I think probably 4 or 5 weeks ago, that team probably would have crumbled. But we showed enough attitude about us to hang in there, and like I said, I thought we came home quite strong. We started to come home, but again, it was that execution in good ball that let us down, and we, even with 12 minutes to go, I think we scored, and we kicked the 40-20, which got disallowed, which was frustrating, but then we got some more field position again, and we squandered it. And I think that was kind of the story of the day, that after that kind of first 20 minutes in the first half, we just come up with too many errors, and we're too loose in our play and our execution. No, they felt that it didn't reach the 20. I think we all think it did. It was a tough call, and that was, to be fair. There was still 12 minutes on the clock there, 30-18, and we were building some momentum. Like I said, I thought we finished the game quite strong, considering that with the amount of defending that we had to do in the game, and the amount of pressure that we were under off the back of penalties and disrespect with the ball. Like I said, to come home with that sort of strength was good, and it's something I've been challenging the players at training, because I feel that too often this season we've been very patchy in our levels of performance, and we've certainly, the middle part of the game, we've really struggled, and I've been challenging them under training and putting them under a lot more pressure to be able to get through that, which I felt at times today we did, but I think we just gave ourselves way too much to do today, against a good Bradford team, and you can't complete it 55% against them and give away 14 penalties around that sort of mark and expect to win the game. So I think we didn't deserve to win the game, but still there was some encouraging and positive signs that we can hold on to build forward into the game against Lee next week. It doesn't. No, it doesn't, David. It doesn't. Really disappointed with the Nick Sliney one, because we're really excited to have him back on the park. We thought he was going to be back for the summer bash, and then 2 weeks before that come up, he's back into training as he's returned to training, and just obviously just re-injured the same injury. So. It's a disappointing one for Nick, but the good news is he's decided to stay at the club for next year. So he had an option in his contract, and he decided to take it. So I'm really, really pleased about that. It means it's one less front row I've got to look forward for next season. But really pleased to have him on board. It's a shame he's missed pretty much the whole season this year, but I'm sure, the way he's been with his rehab and that the attitude he's had, I'm sure he'll come back with a great pre-season and a big start to next year. I'm really excited to see him play. Yeah, he's out for the season now. He's done his ACL at training. Yeah, so again, like I said, we're fortunate we have got a little bit of cover in the outside backs. But again, you still don't want your senior players going down. It's just, one of those things. But what can we do? It's been the nature of the beast this year, I'm afraid. And but I suppose the positive is we get some of these young London kids are getting some exposure. They're getting some experience out there. It's only going to bode well for them in the future. So we've got to try and see the positives out of it. And again, I think there's 9 games to go now. In the regular season, and we're certainly not dead and buried. The table says we're sitting mid-table, but we've still got a chance to make the top 4. I firmly believe that. A lot of people have probably written us off, but we get a result next week and we're still in the mix, so we're still fighting. Yeah, Will Bartow's back in training now, which is good, and potentially, if everything goes to plan, he's back into non-contact training, so he should be back into full contact training in the next week to 2 weeks, and he potentially could be available for Hunslet at home, potentially. So that's exciting. Glenn Riley is now back with the physio team, so he's doing a little bit of field running, but nothing too heavy yet, so he's probably still another few weeks. We've just got to again monitor that. Richie Mathers, again, he is not back on the field at this stage, so again we've just got to keep monitoring his progress. So
is there about 4 to 6 weeks?
Well, yeah, potentially, yeah, it's probably a fair call. Yeah, it's hard to say really because I think you can put guidelines on things, but everybody's bodies respond differently to treatment and how they rehab. So, but again, as soon as we've got news and any update on that, when they're back on the field training, we'll let people know. Yeah. Look, if we're being honest, right? If we're going to be honest and we're going to look at it, we had a top 25 at the start of this year. 10 of that top 25 were young London kids. Out of the 15 that I had remaining, Luke Adamson's gone, Cordoba's gone, Foran's gone. Bartow hasn't kicked the ball, Glenn Riley hasn't kicked the ball, Richie Mathers is out, Nick Sliney's been out pretty much for the season. There's 7 out of probably the 15 that you had left that were established players. They've gone for different reasons or they're injured for different reasons that you've lost straight away. And then on top of that, like I said, we're trying to then bring in players to replace them, and it's just been very difficult at that time of the year. There's just not that many players available. You know what I mean? We've tried to go down the dual reg system to try the quick fix, but I'm just not a fan of it really, and I know David's not that keen on it either, so we've decided to go away from that now and just build with trying to get players in on loan to the end of the season or permanent signing. So, but again, it's just hard at this time of year when this is.
New hooker. Maybe
Yeah, it was needs must, mate. Look, I'm not gonna lie. It's not ideal. It's not ideal that I'm having to be out there and play. But I just felt it was a tough decision to make last week, and I just felt that was a must-win game for us to keep our season alive. And we're a young side, as we all know. I've got two young halfbacks out there. Tom Gilmore and Oscar Thomas. They're both. They're great players in their own right, but they're still learning their trade. They're still developing their game management sense and all that. And and I just felt that we just needed a part of our spine, a senior head out there, and that's why I made the decision to play, to just try and help give some direction and stability to the team in that area. And obviously I've kept myself in there. I am looking actively to try and bring another 9 in to replace Brad Dwyer and hopefully relieve me of that pressure of having to play, because it is tough. I'm not going to lie, it's not ideal. You're trying to manage 25, 26 players and all the coaching side of things, as well as trying to get yourself focused and prepared to play. I've never been a believer in player coaching, because I think you sort of do a disservice to both roles really, because you can't fully manage the game. When you're up the top and you're in the game, you can see it all, you can manage it properly. When you're actually in the thick of action, you can control certain things, but your head's in the zone. It's a different kind of approach to the game as such. You've got to almost make a pre-game strategy. Like last week I sat down with Brian Noble and came up with a pre-game strategy to what I think things would go like and how we could work that, and I did the same with Wardy today. And but at the end of the day, mate, needs must, and I just feel I'm better use on the field at this moment in time until we can get someone in to replace Brad.
Is Reynaso injured, or is he just not considered?
No, he was in the 19 today. I decided to give Joel Wicks a hit out. I'm mindful too that we've got 3 games in 7 days coming up. We've got Lee, Batley, and obviously Doncaster, 3 games in 7 days. I just thought it was important to get Joel Wicks a bit of game time as well, have a look at him as well, because again, I'll be honest with you, I still haven't worked out with the current squad that I've got left at my disposal what our best team is yet. Joel's obviously been doing a decent job at the London Scholars, and he wasn't quite right mentally for the game last week. That's why he didn't get the nod, but he had a really good week at training, and I just felt it was the right time to give him the opportunity today and have a look at him and see where he's he's at, because again, I may have to use both those two players during that week when we've got 3 games in 7 days.
Johnny Walker had a good hit up today.
Yeah, Johnny Walker did okay, considering he only came at the back end of the week. He's had 1 session with us. I threw him straight in the fray, but he's come back from injury, had 5 good games up at Whitehaven, so I knew his match fitness was fine. And again, I thought he did a decent job out there. Johnny's I know what Johnny's about. He's a big, strong, aggressive thing, and we've probably lacked a little bit of that this year. And again, he's just another established player who's played a number of Super League games and also a number of Championship games. So he knows both divisions and knows how to handle the style of football in this division. And he'll only get better the longer he's with us. I guarantee you that. But no, I was happy with his contributions today.